Hi traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Sorry about the wait there. I had to hook up another monitor really quick for this webinar. And like I said, um, this is the last webinar I'm going to use this particular computer for today. And I had to go, I had to go reestablish a connection for this monitor, for an actual monitor, so I can read all of your questions while I'm doing analysis. I didn't have it set up. I wasn't going to use it, and then but I couldn't get the other one all set up in time. So sorry about the wait. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started for today. And like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to go through our normal analysis. We have pending home sales today. I think it's pending home sales. That's the data that's coming out a little bit later, and or it's new home sales. So really not a whole lot of data coming out, but it's all right. We've got doesn't mean we won't get prepared for today. We need to. So let's talk about where we're at with the euro dollar. So the euro dollar came out of this triangle. You can see this triangle formation. We pushed out of it. I do not think that we have gotten to where ultimately we're going to go. If you look at like your minimum expectations for this move out of the triangle, okay, that would be your minimum expectation there, or mine at least. We have not gotten there just yet, and we've got further to go. All right, so ultimately probably heading down here towards 111, 30, 111.25, maybe even just this 161% extension around the 111.40 level. Now obviously we're getting a bounce. I figured we were going to get a bounce today. That's why I took my dollar longs that I had, a lot of them off the table, because I figured we were going to, move down at the open, the dollar would move up at the open, and then we'd bounce a little bit. And all that we're setting up here is just for a real simple, sell rally type of thing in the euro dollar. So if we can get a rally now, excuse me, if we can get a rally back towards 112, let's just call it 112.75. I mean, we have previous support here at 112.73. So if we can get a rally back to 112.75, I think that's going to be good resistance for today. So let's write that down. 112.75. Okay. We're still in a big range. I mean, it's not like anything's really changing here. We've come out of like I guess the upper end of our range. We can almost say that we're going back into a bearish trend, but I think right now downside is fairly limited. I mean, if you just copy that, put it over here, you can see where I think downside is probably limited to here over the course of the next couple of weeks. We should probably stop at 110. If we start to breach below 110, that's going to take us down to the 105, 106 level again. All right, so but we've got a long way to get there. Okay, and Derek says, "Hey Blake, it looks like the euro dollar is in a range bound on the daily chart from February 2015. Yeah, it is. I mean, this is just a big range. That's all this is. Just like you look at the dollar index, it's just the inverse of the dollar index. It's like there's a lot of support at the dollar index down at these prices, just like there's a lot of resistance in the euro up here. So yeah, it's just a big ass range, and we're just near the upper end of our range right now, and moving lower. Also, we have this head and shoulder pattern, just to make sure you guys all see it. There's head, there's shoulder, which could, actually take us even further down. Towards channel support eventually. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind too. But anyway, so for right now, any rally up towards 112.75 is probably a decent short. Support is obviously going to be the lows here. We have horizontal support that we briefly we closed below, but just kind of probing down there. So I'm gonna write down support as being 112.15. And there you go. Okay. All right. Let's go over to the cable. Now the pound's been very strong, and just like last week, the stay vote has been swinging back into the cable into the favor of the UK. The stay versus leave vote. And so the pound has been very strong, and it started last week when we saw and I don't know what the poll numbers are now that Paul was talking about, but I know it was 49% stay. This is last week. 49% stay, 39% leave. And so if that vote swung any more over the weekend, that the polls, then you're going to see why the cable is strengthening. I mean, we're coming up to really key resistance here at 145. And if you take the spike high over here, that comes in at 145.13. So that means that this 145, 15 level, I know it's 13 is the high, but you imagine we can spike and take stops above there. I mean, that's key resistance right now. 145, 15, key resistance, right? We're attempting to break higher. I mean, we've been in a range for a while. We're attempting to break higher out of this range, and we break above this 145.15. I'm going to switch it from range to bullish. Okay? I am. I mean, we've been in a pretty bearish trend for a while. We went range bound, and now we're threatening to turn bullish. Okay? Support is 112. I'm sorry, I did not type that correctly. It's 115. Sorry. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. At least somebody's listening this morning. I may have several hundred people listening right now, but at least one of you is paying attention. That's good. Thanks, Carol. All right. So support right now. See, Alan's like, what? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Support's going to be down here at 144. We already filled the gap, so that 144 is key. Alan, I wasn't talking to you. Go back to sleep. Octavio says, no habla ingleses. That's all right. No habla español. Eh? All right. So that's the cable. Let's go over to the Swissy. So the Swissy finally backed off a little bit after having an epic rally back. Now, a little bit of a false breakout here, didn't we? So what that means is this 98-cent level is going to be really key resistance. Let's get rid of this. And support will be any dip down to here. $96.85. If we can get a move down to that, 96.85, and then resistance is 98 cents. This is key resistance. So if you get an opportunity to buy the dollar Swiss down here, I think you want to try to take advantage of that, right? Okay. Let's go to, that was a Swissy. Let's go over to the yen. So the yen, all right. So we hit the 618 of, you take the trend high over here, basically. You can take it right there, but basically a trend high. We can just measure that number here, right there. 618 came in around 112. That was from that spike high. From this spike high, it was the exact 618. And we stopped there on a dime, so okay. So we came in right at the 111.90. So that means that 111.90 is major resistance. That is major resistance. Now you got to figure out how far this dip is going to go. Like I said, I got out of my dollar yen short already. Okay, already took a loss, and I'm done with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with the yen now. I don't have any master plan at this moment. But I had to reduce my loss and reduce risk. And I got out of the Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. I took actually flats on those, and the Canadian yen I lost like, I don't know, it was like 50 pips on the Canadian yen. But the Canadian yen, the Aussie yen, New Zealand yen were all small positions. So that didn't wasn't too much. It was this one that I was mostly worried about. But I'll tell you, we cleared all of this resistance, so we can just remove that for now. We don't have to worry about this. That previous support, resistance, we stopped there for momentarily when I shorted it, but that is going to be a big deal on the way back down. That comes in at 110.65. And matter of fact, if you take this last move here, 110.60 is a 50% retracement. So 110.65, that'll be support. And we've been in a bearish trend, okay, with the dollar yen. I am going to put us in a range now. And the reason why, there's a couple. First of all, we had a big head and shoulder pattern. Okay. The completion takes us down to 105 and change, but we may have stalled and just been short of it just because so many people were targeting down there. So many people were. So I'm going to put us in a range for now. I wouldn't be surprised if we make one final low below these lows to 105 at some point. But right now, I think it's range bound. And I personally am going to start looking for places to buy the dollar yen. I personally am. I was waiting till we got down to 105 to start buying the dollar yen, basically selling yen. But I'm going to try to start looking for dips to be on the long side of the dollar yen. I ultimately think the dollar yen is going a lot higher. If you look at the longer term, I think we're going eventually a lot higher than this. Okay. All right, risk appetite or none. So, I know I started a little bit late, so let's go over the Canadian really quick. So the Canadian, I'm still long the dollar Canadian, just so you guys know. I pared back a little bit of my position, but I'm still long the dollar Canadian, and my cost average was 126.50. But because of what I took off the table, my cost average is 126.86. My cost average last week was 126.60. So but I took some profits off the table, or some of mine off the table, and it was like um, it's FIFO, so my cost average changed a little bit. But anyway, I just wanted you guys to know I'm still long the dollar Canadian. I just took a little bit off the table, just reducing some risk. Those Friday numbers were horrible. Or let me take that back. They're horrible if you're short the Canadian. It was really, really strong producer or CPI and retail sales numbers. Very, very strong. Scared me a little bit. Um, so anyway, wow. Cable's just ripping. Oh my God, we're at resistance right now. Holy crap. Woo! If you guys are long, I would be taking profit. Matter of fact, I might even. Nah, I don't want to short any. Where's the euro pound? 77.58. I was thinking about taking a little bit of profits there on the euro pound. Man, this cable is so strong. Pound Aussie is just looking awesome. Pound New Zealand's ripping. Oh, I love it. All right. You know what? When I come back, we're gonna deal with well. Actually, I'm sorry. I got to go back to the Canadian guys. This is really easy. 126 is support, right? Resistance is at 127.60. We're just smack dab in the middle. Here, I'm just gonna write that down. 126 is support. 127.60. That's key resistance. We're in a bearish trend. Okay. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Guys, I'll be back and we'll do the rest of these pairs. Thanks. All right, guys and gals, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar, so we're going to continue on with our analysis. So let's go over to the Kiwi. Here is the Kiwi dollar. Okay, so we've been in this upward channel. One thing I want to point out as far as the Kiwi goes, take a look at this weekly. Shoot, sorry, I'm making an adjustment over here. My screens are all screwed up today. One second. Okay, so take a look at my weekly charts here, and let's get rid of this fib really quick. I'm going to get rid of both of these for now. Look at the candle on the Kiwi on the weekly chart. What does that candle tell you? It's a nasty, nasty, nasty reversal, right? Yeah, that's a shooting star, failed breakout, very long wick. Okay, ugly, ugly, ugly. Wow, dollar yen's coming under pressure. Holy crap, what happened there? Oh man, if I would have got out of the dollar yen right now, I would have taken a flat. Son of a biscuit. Euros at new highs. Son of a biscuit. Dang it. Cable's still pretty strong too. Man. Son of a gun. It's all right. The euro's almost at my time to get short level. Really close. I'm gonna start looking to short here. I might actually short a little bit right now. Hold on. Hold on really quick. No, I know I was looking for 75, but the reason why is because we're at the underside, almost at the underside of this trend line, or this support too. See, there's the spike low right here that came in at 69. I'm going to sell a little bit now, and then I'm going to sell more I just sold some at 112.60, almost 65. And then I'm going to sell a little bit more at 75. I'm only in a third size short in the euro dollar just now. That's it. But I'll add to it here in a bit. Man, I cannot believe that damn yen. Son of a gun. That's all right. It's neither here nor there. I'm already out. Okay. So we're going with Canadian. Let's go take a look at the Kiwi. Okay, so we're back over at the Kiwi. So you saw that nasty, nasty Kiwi chart. What that means is, to me, see this yellow line? You want to sell it if we get to 69 cents. Period, end of story. This is not non-negotiable in my book. Okay, 69 cents. It's a place to be on the short side. We are back in a range just when it was looking bullish until the end of last week. Support. This is obviously key support right through here. Okay, you can see it all through here. See it? That comes in at 68.25. Key support. Aussie. Okay, here's the Aussie. Now the Aussie had no bounce. I think it was a pig. We're actually at resistance here in the Aussie. Like where we're at right now. This is, you guys remember this? All I have to do is just keep drawing it over, right? Pulling it over, if I can grab it. We're at resistance right now. My body says I need to, my head says I need to short this right now, but I'm not. 77.30 to 77.50. Whoops. Okay. You get an opportunity to short it at 77.50. I think you got to take a shot at it. We went from a bullish trend to a range, and same thing applies here with the Aussie. Okay. Even though it's not a red candle on the weekly chart, it was still a false breakout. And that resistance actually stuck. Big. So this thing is, you know, it's like, yeah, you want to short into strength now. So if we get a rally up towards 77.50, this is where you want to be on the short side, I think. Right here. Like that. Okay? All right, let's go to the well, actually, we need to go to find support. Support is here, 77.70 or 76.70. Okay, let's go over to the dollar index. Okay, so the dollar index, we found resistance right at 95.20. Support. And then move down to 94.50. So 94.50, resistance at 95.20, and that is key resistance. We're just near the bottom end of the longer term range, right? All right, let's go take a look at the peso. Trying to get this done for you guys so I can have the last half an hour to take some questions. Okay, so here's the peso. Above 1760, you remember the analysis here? Above 1760 is what? What does that mean above 1760? The market is risk averse, right? We get above 1760, and that's going to be uber bullish. FX Praise asks, well, what's my trading view handle? Doesn't matter. I don't post there. It doesn't matter. I don't post. I don't publish there. I don't want it. I don't. I don't do it. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter if you want. You know what? You know why I don't like TradingView? I mean, I like TradingView. I like their charts. I think their charts are great. Do you know why I don't like to post on TradingView? Because there could be some 14-year-old kid in their grandmother's basement posting charts. You don't have no freaking clue who they are. Nigel says because it's full of a-holes. You guys don't know. How did you find me? You guys don't know what my Twitter handle is? Uh how did you get here? That's me right here. Walter's like, "Wait, how did we get here? I don't know. How did you get here?" Freaking yen. All right. That's me. By the way, that was a given name, just so you all know. I would not, I'm not the kind of guy that would call myself Pibzar. That was a given name. I'll have to tell you the story sometime, but that was on Wise Trade TV when that happened. It's back when we established a car czar. You remember when we established a car czar in like 2005 or so? Somebody called me the Pibzar instead of the car czar, and then the name kind of stuck. So our clients have been calling me Pibzar for 10 years now, more. Anyway, sorry. Okay, I digress. Back to peso. Big support is going to be at 17. That was the breakout point, 1737. We are in a range. Let's go over to the Norwegian krona. FX Prices. I actually follow you on Twitter, but Ziggy posts about your webinar on Twitter. Yeah, he records this, so he's recording this right now. And Ziggy's great. He does. I mean, just so you all know, he's a Wise Trade customer and has been for, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 years maybe. He just does it because he's cool like that. You guys, when you get an opportunity to thank him for recording the videos and posting them on YouTube, he does that himself, you know. And I don't pay him to do it. No one pays him. He just does it because he's a nice guy. So, all right. So here's the U.S. dollar Norwegian krona. We had resistance at 830, 8.30 a lot last week. But you know what? I think this is going to be more important now. The highs here. So especially if crude oil starts to break lower. So watch 820. I'm going to write down 826. Support at 810. We are in a we've been in a kind of a near-term bearish trend, but we're about ready to turn right back into the range. So I mean, I've been waffling between putting in range and bearish for a while, so I still am too. Because we're in such a longer term bullish trend. We're just at support. We're probably just at the bottom end of our range here. Okay. So in the US dollar Norwegian krona looks like it's going to take off. The thing is, I sold it yesterday because I knew we were up against resistance here. I took profits yesterday. I would not mind reestablishing that trade. Um, let's go over to the Swedish krona. Here's the Swedish krona. And same applies from last week, 803, 818. It's major support, and then 818. I'm gonna actually put an asterisk next to here because if we can break that, we're gonna squeeze. We're at the lower end of our range. All right, your bias chart is done, folks. So there you go. Go ahead and take a picture. It's all good to go. Um, all right, a couple housekeeping items. Um, when you guys are done here, make sure you guys listen in to Nick Trades. She's going to be on she's going to be on Dale Pinkert's FX Street webinar. I typically will not tell you to go over there and listen in because obviously Kip, he broadcasts right after I'm done. But if you guys trade the currency markets, you might want to listen in to what she has to say today. She's got like a pretty neat announcement, something I've been involved in for the last several months that she's going to talk about. So make sure you listen in there when you get an opportunity. Okay? Yeah, and Dale and Chad said Dale records them too. Yeah, so if you don't get a chance to listen, if you don't get a chance to listen because you're listening to Kip Cohen, which I highly recommend, listen to Dale's recording of Nick's interview here. She's coming up in like 30 minutes from now. So I just want to talk about that because, like I said, she's going to talk about something that I've been involved in recently, and very excited and happy to be involved in too. Mm.